Today I'm sharing an update on my Tabletop Aquagarden that I built back in June. It's been 2 months and as you can see, it has transformed beautifully. Here's a side-by-side comparison of day 1 versus day 61. The growth has been incredible and the whole setup has matured really well. Since posting this on social media, I have received a lot of questions from you all about its maintenance, what lights I use, mosquito control, if fish can be added, and how long such a setup can last. I'll be answering all those questions in this video, so stick around till the end. One of the first things you'll notice is how healthy the plants are. They have been growing rapidly, so much so that I actually had to give them a trim just a month ago, and even after that, look at how tall and full they already are. The dwarf hairgrass is also doing surprisingly well. Here's a closer comparison. It's visibly taller and denser now. Many of you asked if dwarf hairgrass can survive in a no-filter, no-CO₂ low-tech setup like this. As you can see, it's not only surviving, it's thriving. So yes, it's very much possible. I've also removed most of the floating plants. While they look great and are helpful in controlling algae by consuming excess nutrients and shading the water, I felt they were blocking too much light from reaching the submerged plants. That trade-off is something to consider in your own setup. I am particularly impressed with how well the Teratape is performing. It's kept the moss consistently moist, allowing it to thrive even in low humidity. You can actually see the moss releasing hundreds of spores, a clear sign that it's healthy and happy. Without the Teratape, growing moss in an open setup like this would have been nearly impossible. The maintenance for this setup is actually very simple. I top up the water every other day since shallow containers like this lose water quickly through evaporation. I do a full water change once a week. For the water change, I use a pre-filled airline tube to siphon out the water. I wipe the glass with a microfiber cloth to keep things crystal clear and remove any visible string algae manually before filling it back with fresh water. I also remove old and dead leaves during the process. The water is gently poured over hardscape sections so as not to displace the substrate, but you can also use a sheet of plastic to soften the force of water when poured. Some of you wanted to know if you can add shrimp or fish in this aquascape, and the answer is a big no. It is way too small for any livestock. However, I do have a couple of very tiny snails in there which appeared on their own. Since there is no livestock involved, full water changes don't pose any issues in terms of water chemistry. In fact, they're actually helpful because they instantly remove any toxins and give the plants a fresh boost. The aquagarden sits under a dedicated LED grow light, providing around 400 PPFD for 8 hours each day. It's about time I trim back the plants again. I'll replant the Hemigraphis stem cutting to create an even denser foliage. For fertilizing, I use DOOA Wabi-Kusa Mist, mainly for the emerged plants. It's easy to apply and it also has a pest repellent effect, which brings me to another commonly asked question: how I avoid mosquito breeding. With regular water changes and the use of Wabi-Kusa Mist, I've had zero mosquito problems so far, so that's one less thing to worry about. Now, how long can this setup last? Well, that's a subjective thing. With consistent care and basic upkeep, it can technically go on forever. That said, I'll eventually tear this down to make space for new projects, but until then, I plan to enjoy every bit of it. If you haven't made one yet, I highly recommend trying it. It's a simple, peaceful addition to any indoor space, and the process of watching it grow is incredibly rewarding. Thanks a lot for watching. Don't forget to like, share, or leave a comment if you have more questions, and I'll see you in the next one.